Hello, I'm Robert, and you're welcome here in my business shop. On today's episode of What's on My Workbench, I've got a couple of things that I wanted to cover. In some ways, it's going to be answering some questions that I have received over the last month or so, and a couple of project reviews that people wanted to know how those projects worked out. So we'll get over here on the workbench and we'll go over that. Just take a few minutes and cover those topics. I appreciate you taking time to be with me in the shop today. One of the first items I wanted to cover is I had someone ask me about the weight of leather that I used to make the last tote. And I had enough material out of that to create two totes. Right now I've just got some of the parts of it put together, but I just thought I would just go ahead and measure it here so we can see. It looks like it's a little less than 5.5 ounces is the weight of that leather that I used to make the tote. And I've used and had people happy with leather from 3 to, I guess probably 5.5 is probably the thickest that I've ever done it. I've had some leather that was thinner. I had some 2-ounce leather that someone chose, and all I did was I lined that with itself to create a 4-ounce. I think it's a pretty durable weight, and it's not too heavy, in my opinion, you know, to turn the bag right side out. So I think a lot of people really get caught up on the weight of the leather as the bag being heavy, and I get that. You can end up with a heavy bag before you put anything in it, but I think in most cases, just leave 1 or 2 more things out of it. I had another lady up here that had one of the totes made, and she went on a large trip with it, and she said the only thing she felt was the bag held a lot of stuff. She ended up carrying more stuff than you want to carry. So I guess there could be an argument there to making that same bag and making it a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll look at making one that way. So enough on that bag. So it's a little over 5. It wasn't quite 5.5 ounces. It's pretty close to 5.5 ounces is what that one is. The next item that I wanted to talk about was this bag here. I referred to it as Crossbody Bag. I kind of modeled it after the old Boda bags that people would use, and it would have a stopper here, and it would be filled a lot of times, I think, with wine. But I was looking for something that fit pretty close to the body for my wife on a trip that we took, and I made this out of American bison, and this leather I think was really fairly thin. Can't remember now what I said it was. So it's 2-ounce thick leather, and I had someone say they were concerned about, and it was sold as an upholstery leather, that it was too thin for that. And now it was only 3 weeks, but I think it stood up very well to the test of being used. It was the only quote-unquote bag that my wife used on that trip. And the only thing I would say is I was guessing on where it would be comfortable to have it wearing it on your body, and I made this strap longer than it probably needed to be. And I get people ask from time to time what length strap works good for a crossbody bag, and it really just depends, because if you look at this bag here, this side here, the strap starts up, you know, quite a ways. So, you know, if it was down here, you know, equal sides, then you'd have to add that distance in. Let's add that distance in and just kind of see what we end up with here. So 20 to there, 34 to there, and 44. And I've had bags that I've made between the crossbody strap between 38 and this was 44. That's been about the longest that I've, you know, had someone, you know, want it to be. So this strap was, you know, slightly longer, and I think I gave measurements for that in the video, but I would say probably could have cut maybe 6 inches off of that length. And I didn't put I put a friction fit piece of hardware on there, so it was easy to adjust and didn't have to worry about the holes. And I suppose I could cut this off and then just do a little stitching around the end here. But anyway, that was one that actually had a few questions about concerns of it being thick enough. This is American bison that I purchased from Montana Leather, and the zipper, I think I bought that from Joann Fabrics. It really matched up fine. I think it was called London Tan, I think it was called. Now, I know a lot of you know that I'm retired. That just means I quit working for the company I worked for 30 years. I've really not ever stopped working. And I made this set of Carpenter bags, and you may have seen the video of where I made this belt with the tool strap. It's actually my video that I have 100,000 views on. I was making that, and I utilized some old Carpenter belt hardware and reset it here with some copper burr and post rivets, and it's made out of 2 layers of Latigo leather here, and it's at 14 ounces on the belt here. And then I made 2 bags here that I made this one pretty deep so that it holds you know, a couple clips of nails really well. And I just modified it because originally I had this sewn here to try to put a couple pencils in. It doesn't really work very good for that, but I'm going to now use that to hang my air gun off of whenever I'm doing framing. So I just thought I would show it here. This bag here has only got about a year's use on it, but the bag on this side here I've been using for about 3 years, and it works really well. I made 2 separate pouches here that I just have layered up here. And then there's just this little strap here to hold the Carpenter square. And I think when I'm on job sites, I've had guys like, hey, can you make me some? I do think that there's a good calling for a good quality bag. The toughest thing probably is trying to get the measurements of what works. And this pocket here is 7 inches by, I'm going to call it 9.5. This one here, and it's set to the back side of it, is like 7 inches by 4.5 deep. This other bag's really pretty big. It is 9 inches deep and 8 inches wide. And I did kind of a different gusset here on the side. You can see it wasn't easy to turn right side out. There's a video on me making this bag here. I'll put a link to a couple of those videos in the description of it. And then one of the last things that went with my Carpenter get up was I refitted the handle in this hammerhead, and I think it really turned out well. It's worked good. I've been using it now for about 3 weeks, maybe closer to 4 weeks. And I was trying to be really careful about keeping the alignment here of the face, you know, so that when you've got a hold of it here, it's lined up properly. If you had that tip too much one way or the other, it would become, in my opinion, less usable. But that's the first time that I've put a new handle in here. And I'm not sure if you remember, but this was the handle that was in it to begin with, and I made it slightly longer. I don't have quite as much of a kick here on the palm swell, and I made it thinner this direction here. This was just too much thickness here, in my opinion. So that's been working well. Well, there you go. A little bit of a housekeeping video here today. I've got a really cool belt I'm working on that I'll have the video, should be out on Saturday. And then I've got a holster that's going to go with that, kind of as a matched pair. That'll probably be the following Saturday. But just a little bit of a housekeeping video today. I hope you enjoyed being here. I appreciate you taking time to watch my video. Please like, share, and subscribe. But more importantly, I hope you and your family have a great day.